G'day Adam, thank you very much for being willing to talk to us today about the impact that you see on small businesses and small communities of things like logging and the Great Forest National Park. So can you just let us know what you've seen so far that's gone on, even that would make you really cynical about what the impact of the Great Forest National Park might be?
Certainly, I think definitely a decrease in visitation to areas out here, and I don't mean logging is not the attraction, but we've had numerous amounts of small families that we know. Well, probably the best example, I can think of one straight off the top of my head. We've had weddings in our venue here. Now they were married last year and no longer live in the town, so they're a logging family. They're now located in New South Wales, where they've had to follow up. That's their work, that's their livelihood. So we've already seen a decrease in customer base that way, just through our local families being impacted. It's impacted their income and stuff, so that impacts on their ability to be able to spend in hospitality venues. And it's not just related to me, this is across regional Victoria as a whole. There'd be examples like this in every small town in Victoria, every country town, where young families are impacted, and then the flow-on effect is the local businesses become impacted, and the suppliers of those businesses become impacted, and it just goes on and on and on. So it's a financial concern, first and foremost, I guess. And then there's the restriction of opportunities. Once small businesses are affected in towns, we employ about a dozen people here, probably 15 people on a casual basis. These opportunities don't exist without visitation and without income. And we've seen it, the timber industry, decrease that visitation, and we're going to see it with the Great Forest National Park. There'll be certainly some sort of decrease in visitor numbers that will only affect negatively our small town, particularly here in Neerim South.
And on an average morning on the weekend, what do you notice about who's coming through your town to access the bush?
Yeah, it's definitely, and no one could argue with this, it's recreational bush users, the trail bike riders, four-wheel drive enthusiasts, the campers, the fishermen, the gold fossickers, the bushwalkers, the mountain bikers is another big thing now, which is quite new to our area, but it's an increase in visitation. So as soon as we restrict those activities in whatever form or shape it will be, whether that's a reduction of area that we can actually use, or whether there's costs associated with those uses, we're only going to see a decrease in visitation. So there is no growth opportunity without access to public land.
And so in terms of something like the Great Forest National Park, were you consulted in any way at all about the impact of that, what that will do?
Well, I was certainly part of an invitational meeting with VAC. Our Progress Association was all organised through that organisation. And it was part of the Eminent Council panel, I believe, as well there. But as far as consultation goes, no. We were informed of what was about to happen, and what probably most likely will happen in our area. They didn't come out and say it will happen. This is all. Although they were asked directly, they denied that. It was a done deal.
But you were left with that feeling? We
left with that feeling, and there was 5 of us in there that were supposed to represent the whole town. And we're from different platforms in town, I suppose. There was a small number of business representations, nothing from the sporting groups. So as far as consultation and that sort of thing goes, it was very thin. It's very vast. But we definitely left with that feeling that this was a done deal, and the best we could hope for was to try and achieve some funding to make up for that loss that we're going to experience as a small town through Victoria.
So what's your experiences of government offering funding and saying, well, we know that we're going to cause a loss to your community, or something's going to change, so we'll give you some money and we'll fix the problem by throwing some money at it.
At another area.
At another area.
Yeah, and it's, look, unfortunately I've seen this before. I was involved in a trail bike pilot project that was supposed to be, we probably can't tell where we are at the moment, but that direction is Neerim East. And there was a network of tracks to be formed, existing network of tracks to be rehabilitated, made directional, so a lot safer area to ride, and they'd be also graded as far as experience and that sort of thing goes, very much like a ski resort. Black, blue, green runs. We know green's beginner, blue's intermediate, black's for advanced riders. So it would have been a very similar setup with the environment first and foremost in mind. So there's a lot of existing track network out there now that doesn't consider sensitive areas, fern gullies and all that sort of stuff. They could have been corrected, and then new ones facilitated where it was better suited for these types of activities, being trail biking. It was funded by the TAC, and there was $5 million put forward for that project, handed over to DELP, now changed their name to DECA, I believe it is. And like I said, disappointing that I'd been involved in that, and not 1 cent of that $5 million made it to that not one single part of that track network area out there. So we've seen promises of money going from one government department to another government department. That doesn't hit the public. It doesn't hit the grounds where it's supposed to be. You know, as far as a trade-off, if we've got to give up some public land for the promise of some funding, no, my experience is that doesn't happen.
So, do you want to say something?
Yeah, you mentioned before about your previous work where you were talking about bushfires and the impact of the loggers being out there. Can you just let us know about that? Yeah,
great. Yeah, I was down at DELP for 11 years, project firefighter, involved in unfortunately some of our worst fires that we've seen here, and probably the most thing that stands out to me now is the amount of fires that didn't start, that didn't happen, because there were people already out there in the bush with machinery and stuff that could access those areas. So just one example, we've got a lightning strike. You know, you could be possibly 3 hours from any depot or any sort of utility that can deal with that sort of fire in time, and the loggers are on site. They take machinery out there, they drop what they're doing, going around the fire up with a mineral earth brake or whatever they've got to do if they can't suppress it fully. And then that gives the authorities and stuff time to get up there and then take control of that. You know, if we're really trying to protect the public land, we don't want to take people out of it. We need people up there that can keep an eye out and respond to those sort of emergencies. So, in effect, you know, we'd say we're going to care for the land by restricting use and restricting access and that sort of thing. It's an increase in danger, unfortunately, and that, again, that's my experience from what I've seen and what I've dealt with. So,
yeah, we hear that a lot.
Yep.
And with the consultation, the Great Forest National Park people said that there would be an increase of $170 million of GDP to the area that's surrounding what they call the Great Forest National Park.
Yep.
What do you say about that?
Well, look, again, I just can't see how they can back that up, because where most of that money and stuff is going to be spent on is closing down areas. It's going to be spent on gates and signs and other restrictions. You know,
basically, what you would be saying is the decrease in the users at the moment would not increase with the users as a national park.
Not at all.
Fair?
No, yeah, that's accurate. So as soon as you associate costs and then congestion in areas, so we know, again, I've lived this experience as well in Neerim South. We lose campsites out along the Latrobe River, particularly the Hawthorn Bridge area. And then we just see congestion into other areas and that sort of thing. So we've seen the crime rate go up. You know, it's nothing positive can come from restricting access to public land. It's a real concern. So.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And anybody that wants to call out here to 5 Aces at Neerim South, say a great big hello to Adam and his fabulous staff. We'd really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.